All right, everybody. I think we are back live. Sorry for the audio issue. That's not going to be the last time you see our cool promotional material of a lot of the top players from our WoW division, including you saw him just a moment ago, Joey Krafchick. Definitely one of the top contenders. And again, as we were saying, Doug, my co-commentator Doug Brockmeier, thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. These are two players that nobody would be surprised to see right at the top of the standings.
No, they've certainly won their share of tournaments, each of them, and we should be in for a treat here.
So yeah, the players should feel free to get things rolling. Joey giving the tiles a shake, the courtesy shake, and Ian is going to go first. Ian came literally one play away from winning the Scrabble Players Championship last year, and he's come close a number of times, and he is just such a solid player, Doug. I feel like his word knowledge is really strong. It's always, you just expect him to find everything. He's made some amazing challenges against me of words that I really thought were plausible, and is just a great strategist as well. So really no real weaknesses in his game. Joey also so strong, so fast. He gets a lot of mileage out of being able to play an excellent game of Scrabble very fast. So we'll see how this game plays out between these two great players. What do you think, Doug, about Fetid as an opening play here versus Exchanging? Very close.
Very close. Yeah, I would probably play it. I don't mind the Q if I can potentially. P is actually a good tile as a Q. I think this has a lot of merit. And maybe this is maybe a stylistic choice. Maybe against a different opponent. Maybe an exchange would be more apropos. But I'm very happy to just take the points and take the lead.
Yeah, makes sense. It's kind of thematic to the previous game, too. We saw Nigel keep that Q for a while. Feels like we're breaking Scrabble Orthodoxy 101, Doug, to just keep the Q for this long. But I guess it is a bit of a dark art. If you are really confident as a player, you can hold on to it for a little while if the situation makes sense. Just be careful. Just be careful with it. Don't try this at home.
Well, he set up the QAT if he gets an A. If he gets an I, he might have QI. I mean, those are potential plays that lend him some advantage in terms of making the play that he did. And now it looks like Joey is the one who's got all the vowels, and he's going to have sort of a low-scoring play if he decides to go for it. But what's he going to do here? Just something with the F, or is he going to fish? It looks like he's got REI there, which doesn't score a whole lot, but it'll be about, 16? Yeah, that looks like what he's putting down.
Seems reasonable. There's no other real way to score much. REI is a plural, so no hooks here. So basically, Joey making the board extremely inhospitable to 8-letter words. You pretty much just have this F available. There's no other way you could fit an 8 on the board, and that has a lot of value if you are worried about your opponent playing a bingo like that. To cut off an entire class of bingos from possibility makes some sense. I do feel like this oddly kind of is annoying for Ian, who probably wanted to dump his Q, maybe QAT here. Now he's going to have to do it here, which is also fine. And he makes that decision very quickly. And I think that is also a very sensible one, especially holding on to an S in reserve, Doug.
Yeah, it definitely sets up the S nicely. I don't know if there's any other real good choice here, so seems like the right thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, I just wonder, to stick with the theme of keeping the Q at all costs, what about something like Pam, right? Like, this scores a lot, Pam
scores a lot, but
33 leaving QINS. Is that worth it?
No,
Not sure. I feel like it's close, but there's merit to it. You could also play Pima if you want more points, if you're
Hmm.
Ian there, which, maybe you redraw an I and play QIS on a subsequent turn. Very tough to pull the trigger on either of those plays. I do feel like playing the Q there is very human and natural. And meanwhile, Joey drawing 2 more T's to his leave of IT. I'm sure he's going to be looking to dump a couple of those, and down comes Twit for 12. I feel like if I'm Ian, I'm seeing Joey's first 2 moves of Ori for 17 and Twit for 12, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, that's fantastic, but this can't keep up forever.
There's an interesting placement on that turn. He could have also played Twit above QI, opening the board more, but also giving back more. So Twit is interesting in the place that he played it. 12 points. I felt like he might have even considered playing Wheat and setting up the T on the triple, but maybe not. Maybe that's too risky early in the game.
It sets up the S as well, or else I would maybe really think about that. So yeah, I think reasonable to take a 4-point, dock yourself 4 points. Playing Twit here definitely opens up quite a bit more in the realm of overlaps and things of that nature. Wheat is very aggressive, but it definitely has a good deal of merit if you can just dodge any of those hooks, which, as we can see, Ian has a hook that he probably would figure out a way to use. And here he's got a lot of good scoring tiles, H, M, and P. I'm sure he's thinking about how to use them. There's actually a really cool play, Doug, of EPHA with the EDH hook. That looks pretty cool. It scores well. It uses up both vowels, though, so I'm not sure if there's anything better that keeps a vowel, but that's a cool looking play to me.
There's so many interesting plays here that are all going to be pretty close depending on what you want to do. I feel like this turn, Ian's got the lead. He's definitely feeling good about how the board is so far, I would imagine. He's got short options. He could play PHI and keep AEMNS for a really strong leave. He could play something like Few, PHEW, leaving AMNS. He could even cash in the S now and play PASHM, PASHM? Yeah. PASHM, which looks kind of weird. Great word. Leaving EN, not bad, right? So he's really got some things to think about here.
Yeah, nothing stands out as obviously significantly better than anything else. It is worth noting that Joey is sitting ready to pounce with a potential bingo on his own rack there. He has Ineptor on his rack. Doesn't look to play anywhere right now, but it feels like a lot of Ian's plays might inadvertently open up a space for him to do that. For example, the very first play suggested of Effa right here, which looks so nice. It is a nice play, but it's going to allow Ineptor to come down very quickly for Joey. The play you suggested, Doug, of PASHM here, similarly, will allow Ineptor to play. So it feels like a lot of the candidate plays could be hit in response by a bingo from Joey K.
Yeah, and a play like Twit definitely feels, like he's got something in reserve that's fairly average to decent, like ENT, ERT, something along those lines. So, I'd be hesitant to open too much here, honestly. He's going with hemp. Interesting.
This is a reasonable choice. I'm not sure it's the absolute best one here, but is it possible that this dodged the bullet? Yeah, I think it did. I'm not seeing any bingos from the M or P, so it feels like of all the plays that Ian could have made that would have opened up a bingo back to Joey, he has managed to pick one. That does not. So nicely done there. I mean, I think hemp is a reasonable play, Doug. It's
Hmm.
so yeah. So
I like
Joey's
it.
gonna have to think a little harder now.
Hemp was good. It sets up the S. There were many choices there, and they were all pretty similar. So Joey's got a pretty strong rack, right? It doesn't look like he has a bingo, so he may choose to just play PE and EM and PE, potentially something like that. Scores all right. Keeps a few of the lines open anyway. Keeps the P open. Keeps the T on the other side of the board open. He
Yeah, I
might
guess
even be able to hit a 9 through RE.
yeah, I was
Um,
thinking nines are in play through RE with that nice leave. You might hit the F. So the
mhm.
board is not. So I agree with you that the very natural play to make here is just PE, getting rid of your worst bingo tile and one of your two E's. The remaining letters are very, very strong for bingoing. The board is not very strong for bingoing, but I feel like it's good enough that your chances are still okay. It's possible that Joey is going to make the determination that something like Pipette is a better option, giving him a more realistic lane or maybe two to potentially hit a bingo if he doesn't feel like the board is good enough to support his very, very strong EINRT leave. So, tricky choice. I think just PE is pretty standard. And I am curious to see if Joey deviates from this. He's probably thinking about it and then essentially deciding, all right, I got to go ahead and make this very natural play. Whoa.
Wow.
Did not see that coming.
So he's definitely opening himself another line with the N hook. Also takes a D or an S. Uh,
That's a
yeah,
surprise. Yeah, I mean,
sacrificing points.
13 points sacrificed with that play to try to ensure that if he does draw a bingo, it has a much higher chance of playing. So I do get that aspect of this play of pre, but yeah, giving up 13 points on the scoreboard does feel like a lot. I feel like I guess my thinking there is that the board is good enough after the 20-point play that you don't have to sacrifice so many points to get that much better bingo lane on the board. Um, but I mean,
Yeah,
I get the rationale. It's just that's
yeah,
tough to give up that many, Doug.
yeah. I wouldn't have done that myself in that position, already being down. I would rather keep pace there and score 20 and stay a little bit closer. But that's just the play Joey went with, and looks like he's going to regret it, honestly.
Well, yeah, the YZ draw is certainly among the worst draws that he could have gotten, I should say, in order to bingo on his next turn. So he's not going to achieve that objective. But overall, it's actually a decent draw as the Y gains a little bit of value because of the Hempy hook, and the Z is just usually a great tile to see find its way onto your rack. So even though Joey is not going to be bingoing next turn, I feel like he should be able to find a way to score some good points and maybe drive towards a bingo on a subsequent turn here. But if I'm Ian, I'm thinking about this play really hard because I'm wondering why not this for 20. I feel like
Yeah,
if he stops to think about that,
yeah,
he's going to go ahead and play arm. This looks like a solid option. The only blemish on this play, Doug, is it keeps the V for next turn. But it scores 30, which is quite solid. And I think it's among the top plays. It looks like he was considering Vamp into the P of Hemp as well. Any thoughts about those plays?
Vamp looks really good. His varmints didn't quite fit there, and Vamp is good. Arm is good, and Vamp are good. They're both relatively equal to me.
Yeah, pretty similar plays. And Joey's going to go ahead and play Ritzy putting that R in a bit of a dangerous spot in the triple lane, but for 49 points, which is what this play scores, it could be worth it. I do want to point out, though, that Frenzy off of the F of Fetid was a very reasonable choice for Joey as well, scoring 7 fewer points, but really not opening anything nearly as dangerous as that R in the triple lane, which can sometimes lose you the game on the spot to a triple.
Or just a 60-point J play or something along those lines, or, even Ixora, IXORA could fit there for a ton of points. I mean, after Ian's play of Arm last turn, I wouldn't think he's keeping anything like that in reserve, but Joey's down, and I guess he wants to keep the volatility high. So he did have a really interesting choice there, Frenzy versus Ritzy. On second thought, the ZY really went well with his INTER leave. And I feel like maybe Ian might have sussed out what that leave could have been, and maybe thought there was no S in his leave after opening a line for so little points. So maybe that led him to believe Arm was the right way to keep the board tight. And so he's definitely going to play up there, and he's going for overs. Okay, that looks good.
Yeah, I was thinking about this. I feel like it's about as good as Ian has available to block that R, which all of a sudden becomes really one of the scariest spots on the board. But I would be thinking about here, as I really do think that play of overs is probably Ian's strongest option here. But this is going to create a hole. Yeah, I was literally about to say Joey immediately spotting. It definitely is going to extend with all kinds of stuff, and Joey spotting that extension really, really fast. Definitely his correct play there. And Ian drawing Ravelin, and that is certainly going to play in a couple different spots as well. So the fireworks coming quickly here, Doug.
As they often do, right? I just didn't see a way Ian could have also really used that spot without playing overs. So I guess that's the rationale he must have used there. And it scored pretty well. And so, these things happen. Extensions do sometimes happen. And that's just the rack that Joey had there. So, but with Ian's nice, he drew LIAR, right? So
yes,
that's
correct.
Quite a good draw for him to stay ahead now.
There are some interesting questions about where to play, though, right? So Ravelin now plays thanks to Joey's play of Preen. It also plays here. So Ravelin playing up top, and you also have Interval from this T going down. So the thing about these Ravelin, these are the only 3 playable positions, and you can see Ian has it lined up, so we're very likely to see one of these. But either you are giving Joey a crack at this R, and you can see that is going to be potentially very dangerous. You can't really know from what Joey has that he is sitting on such a monster here. It actually does not look like he is going to have a triple. Unhorsed is not playable there, so Ian will get away with it. But playing Ravelin up here, Doug, has its own problems. Placing this A right here, you could get crushed in response with certain letters. So Ian is going to go ahead and play this, and I do feel like the downside risk of this play is significantly better than the downside risk of playing Ravelin here for 5 more points. Some might go ahead and grab those 5 points here, though.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I feel like the hook, the other spot that he didn't take under pre, is more of a bingo line than, ending in an or overlapping the L and taking the spot that he did. But the downside of opening the bottom spot would have been a huge R out in space, pretty far in space. I mean, not that bad. It would have been in this 4 position or 3 position rather for a triple, or bingos through it in the 4 position, or
right.
Otherwise just starting with R, that's not too bad. But looks like Joey doesn't have a bingos coming back. So
Well, he saw Hounded, so he
oh, he has.
definitely
Oh, he's right. He had Hounded.
he
Oh, why did
had
he?
well, he
Okay.
had it, and he has
Hmm.
elected to play Hued instead, potentially trying to cover up that potentially lucrative spot before Ian can
Oh,
play
wow.
there. He's given up a lot of points to do that, so we'll see. It looks like he's drawn weirdly too, so
It looks
not
like he might
sure.
have Unbound.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Unbound. Nice. Or I think is upbound also a word. Either way, both of those will still play here. Nice spot. So he's
Yeah.
still threatening to bingo there. I wonder. It looks
Or
like
Outbound.
Ian. Yeah, true. So there's definitely a whole bunch of stuff outbound through the T. So no matter what Ian does, it's going to be pretty tough. I mean, I guess what if Ian plays like gauged, something like this?
Block everything by accident.
That would be pretty
He could.
crazy. I don't think he's going to do that, but the decision to play Hued over bingoing, very interesting. I mean, it's a lot of points to leave on the table, but I do appreciate the logic of it. So yeah, I feel like I probably am going ahead and bingoing there without much thought, just because I really feel like the downside risk of this spot is nowhere near as bad as it could be with the V here, because you can't play all the way across paralleling this V, because there are no 2-letter words. You can't get those really big 6-letter words that go across. So I don't think this spot was quite as dangerous as it would need to be for Joey to block it instead of bingoing, but it's really marginal, Doug. I could see it going either way, and maybe I'm wrong about that.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I agree with you. I feel like I would have bingo there myself because Hounded is over 70 points. The only thing that really hurts me up on top is probably the K or maybe an F, but those are pretty unlikely. And I would rather have gotten a little bit closer to the lead here personally.
Yeah, for sure. So the play, getting some love for my suggestion of gauged here, which I really do feel like there is some serious merit to that. If you are feeling like Joey is strong, if he has one of the 2 unseen blanks to you, if you're Ian, I feel like the bingo percentage after that play is going to be very, very low. And that is always something that you like when you're up by this type of margin, if you're Ian, to reduce that bingo percentage that low. So
definitely a fascinating play, right? Like the only other
very much
option on this
so.
board is like starting with the P or maybe RES hooking Q. I mean, that's not likely to happen.
Yeah,
So
100%. All right, looks like Joey going for the blank slip. I can tell you that he has made this blank a N. So unbound, nicely spotted by him. That second N. The blank is an N there. That looks to be his best play. So Joey with a 1-2 punch of Hued and then unbound, and that puts him up by 1 point, Doug, in this game.
wow. Well, let's see what the tempo does here. A dead even game sometimes bounces back and forth a little bit in terms of momentum. Ian still just played Fog. He's still got a nice looking rack here. So it's still, even though Joey's up 1 point, it's anybody's game from here on out.
Yeah, no question. I definitely feel like Ian still has the upper hand in this game for sure, just because he can play something like Fax, which looks very solid. This does not give that much back to Joey. Yeah, it gives him a 3-tile spot to potentially play a word. But a lot of the time, if Joey plays there and you're Ian, you're going to be able to respond on the triple to that. So it's not even going to be that bad. You're willing to allow that type of play back from Joey. And best of all, Doug, Ian, if he plays Fax, he's leaving CESS, which is just a good, solid leave for scoring and maybe getting a bingo to run away with it.
Yeah, definitely. The S is not going to be that useful on this board. I don't see a whole lot of places to hook anything at this point. So But the S is just a good tile. You could have potential 6-letter word coming down from the B, maybe. I definitely see more bingos in this game's future, though. There's a blank unseen, and looks like Ian's going to go with facts, like you said.
Yeah, I think it just seems very natural and normal to make this play. Joey's going to have a very tricky decision on his hands because he does not have a 6-letter word going down from the B, unfortunately for him. And a lot of his good plays are going to be in this area, which is a little bit scary for the reasons I described. Depending on what you play here, you could potentially be giving a lot back to Ian. So I'm not 100% sure what I would do. Maybe you just play Ono here. Is this the safer version to score a few points without giving anything back? Or is it worth playing something like Lou here, which admittedly is not that easy to parallel, but the G all of a sudden becomes a very important tile, right?
Or the C.
Oh, the C. Oh, 2 C's.
Yeah.
Ryan has one. Oh, man. So a lot to consider here for Joey. In classic Joey fashion, he is up on the clock by several minutes, so he's got time to navigate the rest of this game. I really don't know what I would do here. All I know is that something like okay, this is kind of appealing in one sense, which is that I have another O to play down here, but it is a non-starter for other reasons because you are just giving up so many scary hooks on the triple lane. In that regard. So I don't think I would want to play okay here. Maybe if the score was way further out of reach, I would consider something like that. I think Joey's going to take a more cautious approach, Doug.
What about something like Oak, OAK at 3B, and Era and DAC? Oh, he's going with okay. Okay.
So your suggestion of Oak, that looks very safe, doesn't really give a ton back. I guess you do give S hooks back, but that's not the worst. But wow, the content is coming here. We see the massive, absolutely massive opening play here of okay. Joey is shifting all of his tiles, shifting his chips into the center here with this play, but Ian can just respond if he wants to with Eco for a very, very good score. Only issue with that, of course, is it leaves NNSS, Doug.
Oh, I mean, I'm going for the points. I can't leave this spot open. I know it's a setup. It can't not be a setup, right? So I have to take that spot for sure.
Yeah, crazy to think that Joey would play this without something monstrous in his leave or with another O in hand, right? Those are the ways that he would play this. Either he's got something amazing. I mean, if I'm Ian, I'm thinking to myself, Jesus, he played this and there were 2 S's unseen to him. That is crazy. But, you know, I feel like I wonder if Ian is pivoting to something else. Maybe he feels like I want to leave the spot open because I've got the S's, and I just can't imagine him leaving it open, though. Oh, no, he's thinking about playing
SO.
Yeah, SO. Very interesting. Okay, so that's a reasonable alternative to at least be sure that you're entering next turn with a vowel, but you are giving up 11 scoreboard points, Doug. I don't know. I might just grab those extra points.
Yeah, I feel like this is an interesting decision, actually, because NNSS is pretty bad. And
Contrail still fitting.
Here comes a bingo.
Wow. Only bingo available for Joey. It still fits. Contrail through the T. He's managed to make it work out for him, but again, another huge opening right here. Depending on what Ian is able to draw, he does not currently have a really easy way to play parallel to the I of Contrail. So this could be a huge swing in this game, depending on what Ian draws. Whoa, okay. What does this mean? I think it's still going to be a bit of a struggle for Ian to use that big spot. And look at the draw by Joey. Oh my God.
Oh.
Crazy, crazy game in progress here. This is a wild one. I would say for Joey, even if he doesn't have a bingo, just Bawty here is going to be killer for him, scoring incredibly well and opening up the board further with that blank in hand. But, he could, you've just been pointing out in chat that Taunius through this N, also an option for him. So, wowzers. Looks like Joey has fought his way back in here, and he's right on the cusp of maybe landing the knockout blow.
Yeah, I mean, this is wild. I don't see that Ian's going to be able to really do very much with the current board. And that's definitely a huge blow to him because this spot wasn't open before. Now, if he has nothing there and he knows the blank is unseen, potentially Joey's just going to outrun him here. Unless Ian can figure out how to either score or even fish himself. I don't like fishing here. I mean, he's down 22. It doesn't seem like that big a deficit. But on the other hand, there aren't that many tiles left. He's not going to have that many opportunities to really hit a bingo, even if he's able to draw one. I mean, Contrail was such a dagger, right? I mean, not quite a dagger. It's not the end of the game, but that was the worst case scenario is if Joey gets a bingo without a blank and opens a spot that he himself cannot use.
Yes.
So
great point. I mean, that hurts when you're in Ian's shoes or in his chair, so to speak, when you see your opponent in Joey get that bingo down in such an obstructed and specific spot where it barely fits on the board, and he didn't even need to use a blank to do it, as you say, Doug. That hurts because you just know there's a high likelihood of what's actually happening of he's going to draw that blank and put the game out of reach potentially. So we see Ian play Colin, very reasonable looking play, no wasted time for Joey, playing Tauniest. I do feel like there was a very solid argument to be made for playing Bawty here for 45 points. That's a lot of points, but I can't turn my nose up at the bingo here. Definitely putting the game pretty close to out of reach. Although, yeah, it's going to continue to be interesting. So let me get these scores updated because it did just get a little interesting with that draw by Ian, but I just feel like how could he possibly win by bingoing here, Doug? Just looking at the pool, the unseen pool from his perspective, either you're going to be drawing the J after you bingo, or Joey already has the J and vowels with it, and he's going to find a way to score something. So I feel like bingoing is pretty doomed, but if you're not going to bingo, what then?
Yeah, there's no real way to open something here, unfortunately for Ian. I feel like this is not a real opportunity for him to fish. I don't see a way to do it. Maybe there is something that I'm missing.
No, I mean, the problem is even if you fish one tile, the same principle applies that all Joey really has to do. First of all, if you're Ian and you play just one tile, Joey's going to have perfect knowledge of what you have because there's only one tile in the bag. So if you draw into a bingo that only plays in one spot, he can block it. And if you draw into a bingo that plays in two spots, you should just be able to outrun unless your one tile fish scores a boatload of points. Hard to see where that could be. So this looks like a pretty crazy comeback win for Joey, who is at 4-0 in the standings, and a big win for him against a strong opponent. If he can hold on, which it looks like he should be able to do, and move up to 5-0 in the early going, always feels good to start fast in one of the big tournaments like this, Doug. But I feel like it's so early. It's so difficult to really read super much into it. But all things, being equal, I would certainly rather start fast than slow.
Yeah, I've certainly had my share of tournaments where I started out super hot, winning every game, and then the bad tiles come at the worst possible inopportune moment, and I tank at the end, and that feels even worse than being in the mix the whole time and then working your way up and potentially having a chance to win. So, but Ian's almost out of time. He's thinking hard. Is there any way I can do anything here? So he
He's got to know that this play is not actually going to win the game. I think he's probably correctly reasoning that I just have no real way of winning this game. And as we've mentioned a couple times on the broadcast, if there's really no realistic way you can win the game, then trying to lose the game by the minimum amount is a worthwhile goal. And I feel like bingoing now rather than going for some crazy next to impossible winning sequence that's just never going to work in practicality makes a lot of sense for Ian to just go ahead and bingo now and lose this game by less. I'm sure that's what he's thinking. Does that sound right to you, Doug?
Yeah, I would definitely agree. So dead even score, but Joey's gonna have one more play, and what's he gonna do?
Just anything, really. The top priority is just anything with that J. It actually, to your point, it doesn't seem like there's anything that great with the J. The best play might be Gian right here. This is the only play that really gets that J onto a triple letter score. This doesn't feel like it should be the correct play, but if I'm Joey, I'm getting 27 points from this using JEN, and I'm going to have the rest of these tiles totaling 4, 6, 7, 14 points on my rack. So if I'm going to make this play, I need to make sure that Ian cannot get 13 points for his eye. As long as I'm comfortable with that, I know I'm going to win the game. And it feels like that is just not happening for an eye on almost any board, but certainly not this board either.
No, I think I see 8 points. I may have something better, but quite the game here. I mean,
crazy for sure. Yeah, this is a crazy one. A lot of really interesting plays, a couple plays. I feel like Ian played, very standardly for most of the game. Joey made a couple plays that I'm sure he'll be eager to defend if he watches this after and is like, oh yeah, that was definitely the best play. That was a kind of off my radar as an option there. A couple other ones, but look, he is an experienced player, a very, very savvy positional player. And I really defer to his instinct a lot of the time. And it's worked out for him in this game for sure.
Yeah, most definitely. He drew what he needed to draw, and he gave himself opportunities to win. So good on him.
So he has ample time to think about this and make 1,000,000% sure. I mean, if you look at the score, it is a tie game, so you can't just it would take a very confident, experienced player to be in Joey's situation and just be like, oh yeah, I got this game won for sure. There's no way I can lose, right? Like it's a tie game in the end game. So still got to watch your step and make sure you don't make a false move here. In the morning, Doug, we saw a couple games where phonies were played late in the game that caused the entire game to swing in the balance, which I feel like you rarely see that, especially in Collins. And we did see it. So could we see another one? Very unlikely. But yeah, it's...
I have definitely thought bonily was a word more than my.
How is it?
How is it not a word? It seems like a word. It's just so.
Yeah.
I mean, but
there's definitely way weirder words that are valid than that.
Right. Yeah.
So,
Joey's gonna make 100% sure of everything.
Yeah, he's got ample time. It is interesting, right? Like, let's say you check a play. I don't know. Let's say you check like SOJA or something, right? If I check that and I discover that if I play this, I'm going to win the game by whatever number of points. Do you then keep looking for minute after minute and try to find something that wins by 2 or 3 more spread points, Doug? Or do you just say, all right, I figured out a play that wins the game. I'm going to play that and save my mental energy?
Yeah. I'm not sure I would use, 12 minutes on this turn like he seems determined to do. But I would definitely think for a few minutes, and I probably would have committed to Gian and just go with that.
He has those letters lined up. And there we go. That is the optimal endgame play for Joey Krafchick. Nicely spotted. And down it goes. He makes that move, moving up to 421. And to your point, 8 points in response after that play. It seems like Ian probably was ready for that and predicted that was going to be the play. And after that, it's actually pretty close. Yeah. 421 to 416. Very tight matchup. Maybe the players are going to talk and we can listen in.
Do well.
Yeah.
If I had played another tile on this play, would you have still bingo?
No, I would have played body. Yeah.
What was the play?
Bawty.
BAWTI.
Yeah.
Keeping one.
Yeah.
That's because
I knew this left one in the bag, but if I do this, I'm only up 55, and this good letter's out, so I can't mess around like that. What was your leave there?
ENS, but I considered other plays, Conine or whatever. Keeping LS, which would have been interesting.
I was looking at Buffet. I don't know if there's any other decisions.
Buffet.
That's the only one. Well.
So I guess so. If I play just gauged here, you have what? Literally nothing.
That's the play you wanted, Will.
Sorry, you play what?
Instead of this, I could play gauge, keeping OE. Instead, I kept A.
Gauge 6 letters.
Yeah, just GAGED, keeping OE.
Yeah, that would have blocked outbound also. Yeah.
Yeah, I strongly considered that for defensive merit, but I wasn't up by that much. I mean, well, I was up, but both blanks were unseen. Yeah, he won by 5.
I had to drop both blanks, which puts me at 9 out of 10.
That must be nice. I've had 2.
Your time will come. Submit this.
Yeah, I should have played gauge. I considered that very seriously, but OE is such a bad lead. There were a million O's in the bag, and you had played 4 tiles. You weren't instantly favored to pounce at that exact moment. Nonetheless, in that location, I mean, it wasn't that big a. I mean, I opened more action. I was opening stuff, hoping to get something myself.
Yeah, I think it was the right play.
I don't know.
Yeah, those there were a lot of.
I'll put interval here instead of graveling. Takes E, right? Interval.
Yeah, you played that against me. Let's see, I would have had. I had ON blank, and I drew 2 U's. So. I figured it was the right thing to do.
Sure. You made a lot of good plays. That's why you won.
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, this was going to cause controversy on the stream, but I left EI and RT. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, PE there is 20, but it doesn't do me any good because then I can't bingo. And I'm sort of already desperate because you're getting a lead. Whatever. So,
Well, certainly all enough to win.
Exchanges
that were
yeah, I couldn't believe I couldn't find anything better than Gian. Who's on there? Christian.
Cool. So, all right. Looks like they finished up post-morteming that. A couple very interesting nuggets there, Doug, from both players. Let's talk about two in particular. Ian apparently coming extremely close to playing gauged, which we pointed out would have been lethally defensive in that pivotal position. Of course, Joey was able to capitalize and get his bingo down. Any thoughts on that? That would have led to such a different game.
What was the lead at that point for Ian? I don't remember.
It was like, let's see, if I'm looking at it here, it was fogged. The score at that time was 209 to 164. So
45.
45, definitely too close for comfort to just sacrifice a boatload of points and equity. But yeah, very close. As you can see, we are going to get Nigel back on the stream, everybody. Very exciting. But yeah, any thoughts on that gauge play with the score in mind?
It's fascinating. I mean, you know, if the board was completely dead, I think I would have done it. But there was the P open. There were other, you know, it's kind of early in the mid game. I don't know if I would actually do that over the board.
Yeah, it's tricky. And then you heard as we get set for this next game, we see the players are here. Got to reset the scores and the names and all of that good stuff. But Joey saying that his play of pre was going to cause controversy on the stream. I wouldn't say controversy, but it just surprised us a little bit, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. It surprised me. I thought he was going to just play PE and EM for 20 and move on, but he thought that wasn't going to give him enough bingo chances, even with the very strong 5-tile lead of EI and RT. So, but really cool game.